Makevention in general is just a group of people that enjoy making things. We take an idea and play with it a bit, and then make it into something new.
I like to make things. I mean, the whole process of making something is cool for me. Especially the figuring out part. You have something you want to build, or you want just period, and then you figure out, well, can I make that or not? And then it's like that whole process of how do you problem solve? Can I get the components? Where do I get those things? Can I source them locally? And then try to put them together. Did that work or not? What was wrong? That whole process is fun for me. So
it's just a great way for makers to meet each other and to network and get together and find out what everybody else is doing. So mostly the inspiration was to have fun.
A lot of these people are partners with us, and affiliated with us in some way. So we just thought it'd be cool to get us all together and just show off some of the really cool stuff we do.
Here we have everything from a bladesmith using historical techniques. We have people that are striking coins, all the way up to the latest and greatest, like the Oculus Rift, doing 3D scanning and such. You can actually put the headset on and ride a roller coaster.
Whoa, somebody was following me.
It's going fabulously. We're larger than we have been in the past. We have incorporated a lot of brand new things that we haven't gotten before. We have the Maker Mobile that came all the way from Louisville. We have obviously the Society for Creative Anachronism. We have people from Goshen, Indiana, all just coming together. It's expanded beyond our ability to comprehend at the moment.
So I have accumulated quite a bit of broken skateboards in my closet and found out there wasn't really much to do with them, aside from using for firewood. In turn, I just cut them open and grabbed a scroll saw and some other power tools and a lot of elbow grease and started to just create everything that I could out of it. So we started with jewelry, made all kinds of jewelry pieces here. And then it went from jewelry to art installations. So we've got sculptures and shadow boxes, things like that. And then the third phase was making sunglasses frames out of skateboard wood. So yeah, these kids, they buy a skateboard, they skate it until it's no longer usable. It's got cracks and waterlogged and just chips everywhere. And they'll throw them away. I'll take them, make sunglasses out of it, and sell it back to them with their own skateboards. It was raining a lot, and I broke my skateboard. So I couldn't skateboard anymore, and I couldn't go outside and play. It was raining all the time. And all I had were tools that were in a toolbox. So I used the sandpaper-like grip tape on the board to fine-tune the actual jewelry and started making rings and doing it with just a toolbox in a hotel room. And then I came back and Bloominglabs approached me and told me they had a laser cutter. After they said that, that's all I needed to hear. So became a member about 8 months ago, and we've been making sunglasses and all kinds of cool stuff ever since. You can brag to your friends. You know, that one time I jumped down 12 stairs and broke my board? Well, I've got a memento.
So, this is a FTC robot. The acronym is for First Technical Challenge. And we're here to show people what we do and what we are. We're a team from Goshen. But we do have a Lego robot here. So, this is actually a Lego set from Lego called Mindstorms, the NXT. And we can actually control it using phone. Now I have to find the app. And then from FTC, we actually wrote a grant, and 3D Systems gave us a eco-cycle. Here's some parts. Hey Jay, where'd Darth Vader go? Okay, Darth Vader is out of the building.
So this is our robot from the 2015 First Robotics Competition. The basic idea of this competition was to build a robot that could pick up totes and trash cans and put them on stations like we have over there to score points, and basic idea of a competition. So we brought the robot here today so people could kind of get a demo, see how it works, hopefully learn a little bit about robotics. We actually only get a 6-week build season. So each year we get a new objective, a new competition to design a robot around, and then we get a 6 weeks to design, build, and to further innovate in our design. But we travel a lot. The competitions are every year. Like I said, every year we get a new competition. First is a national organization. It's actually international. There's teams in Israel and other countries around the world, and they design a whole game where then we have to take the game's rules and objectives and design a new robot. So yeah, there's a regional competition, state competitions, and then the national competition. So first we usually go to some high schools or different cities around the state and compete regionally, and then we move on to state, which is usually in Indianapolis, which we did this last year. And then, if we're fortunate enough, we move to the national competition, which changes every year. This year, I think, did we get to state, guys? Did we get to state? Yeah, we got to state.
Cool. It's like Friday Night Lights.
Yes, exactly.
The majority of our time with them is putting them back together.
I'm here with IndieLug, and Brian Alano, who is from Bloomington, arranged for us to be here. And IndieLug stands for the Indiana Lego User Group. So we play with Lego, and we threw together kind of a little creation here on the table we call the Great Ball Contraption. And there's about 24 modules, and they go in a big circle, and they have no purpose in life but to move little soccer balls in that circle. Setting up here took an hour and a half or 2 hours, but each of the modules gets a lot of tender loving care along the way to make it reliable. If you think about it, if I put together a loop of 60 modules and each module drops one ball a minute and jams once every 10 minutes, I'm going to be dropping one ball a second and having to stop the thing every minute to repair broken modules. So you have to get stuff so it's incredibly reliable. Over time, you build that reliability into the modules. You test and change, test and change, test and change. There's at least one module on this table that's actually 10 years old. It's been around forever. It's been refurbed a couple times, but it's been beaten to death as far as reliability, and you can just walk away and leave it running. It doesn't jam, it doesn't drop balls, all that fun stuff. The big black tower down at the end down there. Wrote the specification for how to do this in 2005, and basically you have to have a contraption that has an inbox that's 10 bricks off the table and 10 studs square, so that the guy in front of you can drop balls into that. You have to drop balls into the next guy's inbox, and you have to move balls at 1 ball per second. After that, it's all up to your imagination for what you do. When we first debuted this in 2005, we did it at a Lego convention out in Washington, D.C., and the room we were at George Mason University, so we're in a kind of a double classroom. And the room, when we turn the machine on and run it, everyone would crowd in the room so bad that it would overpower the air conditioning. So we'd have to actually shut it off every half an hour so people would clear out of the room and we could breathe. It caught the attention of the owner and the president of Lego were at the event. And it caught their attention. So late in the evening one night, we set up a private run of the machine so they could come in and see it without all the people there, and they love it. It was the first thing really that was a collaboration of movement done with Lego other than trains running around a table. And so it really just captured everyone's imagination because you're free to do about anything. Just move the balls.
Today we're just kind of doing like mini versions of what we have available at the library. So we have the green screen, it's kind of a mobile version of it set up. And here we have live keying, so you can actually see yourself in a like underwater or in space or on a roller coaster. And then over there we've got the audio set up, just a little like MIDI keyboard and some guitars and everything so that you can record a little project while you're here. So get a little tiny flavor of what we do at the library. We have one video production studio and 2 audio production studios, and they're reservable by anyone with a Monroe County Public Library card for free, and you can reserve them for up to 2 hours, and you can just come in and mess around, or you can record projects. We have the full Adobe Creative Suite so that you can edit your video, or you can do Illustrator or Photoshop projects, and you can record songs in the audio studios and videos in the video studio.
Right now I'm working on a sword. I've been forging this out all day and trying to make it like one of the ones I have down below. So my degree is in archaeology, and so I was very curious about these items that I was excavating from the ground, and that just kind of led into small backyard forging, and now it's my full-time profession. This is my personal sword. It's one of the castings and carvings. This is a representation of my full 10 years of work put into one piece. This is the early stages of a sword. Right now I'm putting the bevels in. These are what make your edges, gets everything drawn out nice. Go back, get various bits refined. So it's hours and hours and days of this, making sure everything's perfect before you can go on to your next steps. So the blade has to get fully rough forged before you even go into your handling. Then you have to heat treat it, make it hard again. That's where the real test comes, the real skill. You have to have the knowledge to be able to take the steel, make it hard again, retain the edge, and still be flexible. That's the whole thing of bladesmithing, is figuring out that little bit of history.
This is one of the oldest technologies that mankind has. It's basically, how do you make clothing? When we moved from pelts to clothing, this is how it was done. It was done with sticks and strings. And that same basic sticks and strings knitting is happening today just like it was when people first made clothing. I mean, back then, even just 150 years ago, a woman's life and the possibilities for a woman's life were totally circumscribed by the fact that she was required to make clothing for the entire family. You couldn't just go out and buy it. You had to shear the sheep, you had to spin the wool, and we've got a spinner over here. It takes a long time. And then you had to knit it and put it together and then repair it when it inevitably wore it. Everything from undergarments to coats to hats, everything. And the whole, idea that women could be free to be equal to men sort of rotates around or revolves around the concept that, this stuff is no longer a drudgery, it's no longer a necessity. But a lot of us, just to celebrate that and just the fact that it's an enjoyable social thing to knit. Really enjoy getting together and just knitting in a group like you see us here today, knitting as a group, just talking about everything in the world, keeping our hands busy. It's purposeful visiting. This is the original 3D printing with knitting. knitting needles. It went from 2D to 3D when you make a hat out of a piece of string. And people have stopped by and enjoyed it. We've put chairs out, and total strangers, I've got needles and yarn, have just sat down and knitted a few rounds with us. It's been wonderful. Just, celebrating that whole spirit of making things is a wonderful thing. And we're not losing the old technologies, even though we're celebrating the new ones and using the new ones to enhance the old ones. My son-in-law actually has one of the 3D printers here today, and one of the questions I had for him, can you make me a pair of knitting needles with a 3D printer? He said, sure. So I'm looking forward to that, my first 3D laser printed knitting needles.
Okay, that's a very good question.
There's a young gentleman down there who has a table, he's 10 years old. He came to Makevention last year, and he was so inspired that he is now doing a bunch of making stuff. And so he has a booth here to show off the stuff that he's been doing since he came to Makevention last year.
He built his own 3D printer, he did his own Raspberry Pi, put it all together, asked us to give him a booth, and he has his booth now, and he's 10. It's just fantastic.
Right now, here I have my three-dimensional printer. It is running green filament. And so far, I have printed little Ultimaker robots and also Legos. I also have a Raspberry Pi, which is an open source Linux-based computer. Right now it is running Kano, which is a custom operating system. And it teaches kids how to code easily. And they retail for $25, so they're something that anyone can get. Last year I saw two 3D printers. I'm pretty sure it was a MakerBot. And then I also saw another one that was homemade that another 3D printer made. So these 3D printers can self-replicate technically, because you can 3D print parts to make a 3D print.
So we make all of our soaps in town, and we came here to showcase kind of what we do, because we do a different process when it comes to making our soaps. So we did a little demo at 1 o'clock where we heated up soap, mixed together all the ingredients, and then right now people are, I'm not sure if you can see or not, people are going through mixing up their own soap combinations, making their own shapes, and they're going through the process that we go through, just on a little bit of a smaller scale. So it's a nice integrated process. And we have all natural products that we also like to showcase a little bit and just tell people about our story. Because the two main guys that founded the company, Mohammed and Anthony, were actually linguistics and psychology majors at Indiana University. One day they decided they needed soap. They started making some soap for themselves and made so much to last for over a lifetime and decided to start selling it. It's going really well. Lots of people are coming up and smelling our soaps. We love when we hear how good they smell. And then the kids absolutely love playing with our soaps. We have workshops in our house, in our production warehouse sometimes, and we see how much kids love that. And so we're kind of going through the same process here with them, and they really eat it up. We get a variety of birds, a variety of animals, turtles, shapes, hearts, so it's a lot of fun for them too. So it's nice and hot when they get it. They put it in a little bowl, mold it, cool it off. They can add seeds, they can add oatmeal, and then they mold it to whatever they please.
Little bit, and the faster you go, the brighter it gets. You can even go backwards if you like. Who doesn't care? I have a stationary generator bike that we made at Bloominglabs. Got the bike out of the trash. It was a exercise bike, and I've just been interested in electricity and how do you make it since I was a kid. This was actually just supposed to be a little quick project, just as proof of concept, but it was actually fairly popular, so I bring it back every year. What the heck? Especially with little kids who want to see how much voltage can they produce. I saw somebody here who had made a bunch of calculators, which I would never be so ambitious. That was amazing. It was very impressive. My 1-year-old really enjoyed stacking the cups on the other end of the building. He thought that was the coolest thing ever.
This is a very simple way for kids to kind of work collaboratively and just kind of create whatever they want, and very easy tear down and put it back together project. Lots of trial and error you see going on here. So it's a very scientific process in a way because of that. It's going really well. Actually, about an hour ago, we had all cups together in one structure. There's about 1,200 total. And then a parade of kids running through and knocking them all down, and that's happened about 5 times already since we started today.
The Wonderlab booth, who would have thought? Cups, a bunch of cups, you know. and it's a great booth. The kids are having a blast over there, aren't they?
Really cool ideas, and the adults have been working with the kids, which is really cool, kind of giving it a little bit more complexity, which is nice. Lots of bridges, tunnels, fortresses, and things like that. Some basic lessons in physics and architecture for sure, yeah.
It's good to get us together. So this is an opportunity for us to collaborate, like Discardi and Bloominglabs. We're sitting here doing, an origami booth together. So, collaborating is good, and then also getting us talking to each other about future collaborations or how else we might work with each other or further each other's missions. I just like to make stuff, and I like to get people to make stuff.